Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the final Showdown reunion of Mental Health Awakening. Which think we're going to call it that? I think that sounds pretty cool. And today, John, is some of the awesome people who were involved in this series, and not everyone, but it's nice that we have some people back who want to say hello again, share the story again, just talk about mental health. So that's it from me to start. And Angela, if you just do your introduction.
All right, I'm Angela Jackson. You all know me by now. I'm a licensed professional counselor in the state of Tennessee, the USA. So glad to partner with the UK for the final Showdown. We're excited about Mental Health Awareness Month. This is the opportunity to, one, raise awareness, to educate, to share, to actually tell your story and normalize some of those difficult conversations that we normally would hold back on. So we're here to motivate, we're here to do some recap and just have a great time today.
Yeah, well, thanks for that, Angela. It will be, well, for this series, one of the last times you say that, so but yeah, thank you for your introduction again. And what we're going to do, as I said to everyone before, everyone's going to do their introductions again, just so people watching or listening, you kind of know who they are. I know me and Angela know who they are, but this is just so lots of people know. So Kimberly, welcome back.
Hello, Mason. Thank you so much for having me and inviting me back to the final episode. So my name is Kimberly, known as Self-Love Sister on Instagram and on my podcast. I'm 25 years old and I'm in the state of Georgia from the US. I'm so excited for this conversation. I'm a huge advocate for mental health and thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, it's glad to have you back, Kimberly, because we kind of talk to each other like quite a lot, don't we? Through like our podcast and your one as well. So it's pretty cool that you're back. And yeah, we talked about in the episode, well, me, you and Angela, we kind of talked about chronic illness and self-love, didn't we? So it's a very good topic.
Yes.
Yeah, well thanks, Kimberly. And we'll talk to you in a minute. Just so we go around everyone. So Justine, it's good to have you back.
Thank you, Mason. And it's also great to be back at this time, especially in full voice and without that dreadful cold. Hi, everyone. Yeah. I'm Justine and I'm a singer, songwriter and music producer. But on top of that, I also am very passionate about helping visual impairment become a bit more of an aware subject and also things that can be associated with that so that together we can all eliminate the stigma that comes with certain such conditions.
Yeah, I think it's really good, like raising that like awareness that, like as I think we spoke in the episode, it needs to be more recognized, I think, and like I think people who listen to it will gain some knowledge because it's something that it does need to be spoken about more. And I agree with you, Justine.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Justine, since we talked last, I actually had the opportunity to reference our conversation actually in a therapy session where we were talking about visual impairment and how you mentioned that it's important for someone who is visually impaired to take part in the training for the professionals. And that was, it brought up a very interesting conversation. So I know I can say that you have made a great contribution to this series.
Oh, thank you very much.
Yeah, it's good to know you're feeling better as well.
Thank you very much.
Yeah,
I think you sent your cold to the US because I've got it.
I hope not. I think the warm weather is what's dried it up mainly. So I hope you're having some warm weather where you are too, and you know it certainly helps a lot. So
yeah, it's at this time of the year it's pretty good weather.
It is.
Then the time it gets to the summer, the past few years, well, it hasn't really been great summer weather. But thank you, Justine, for coming back.
Thank you.
Shay, it's great to have you back today.
Hello, it's great to be back. It's great to be in the land of the living. I am Shay. I am Shay Knight. I am Shay Knight Speaks. And I am honored to be in the room with you all again. It's a pleasure. It's an honor. You all are beautiful people. I am an upcoming author and speaker. I speak and I advocate to help people take the shift into better living and improvement of their lives for those that were suffering or still not understanding how to remove from childhood traumas and mental health and how it all begins, and to blossom and grow and to understand the transformation of it all. I'm an educator of the issues that people don't know how to remove themselves from. So I'm honored to be here, and I'm from Tennessee. I'm here in the great state of Tennessee, and I am here to improve lives. Yeah,
well, I'm glad you're back, Shay, because I really enjoyed when we spoke last. Like on me, you, and Angela on the episode. It was really nice, like to listen to you as well.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm laughing because Mason said several times during the conversation, I could just sit here the whole episode and listen to you talk.
He did.
Yep. I could even now.
He did.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, because I'm happy that you said you'd come back, because Shay does really good work, and I see all the time I see Shay putting good positive vibes out there to other people to have a good day and stuff. So you're always thinking of other people, aren't you, Shay?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I love to think of other people and to put other people first. I like to live in a atmosphere of serving by using my experience. That's the greatest accomplishment that I have, is to understand that my experience is to help someone else to get removed from their experience. Be the GPS, I guess, the way I look at it, on their path.
Yeah, I think that's a really good way to a GPS is that's a good way, Shane.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, we are supposed to have Myesha, but I think she's from internet connections. Her end is going in and out. But if she comes back, we'll go to her. But in the meantime, so I'm gonna ask all you guys here. Why did you choose, I suppose, to come on and speak about mental health? And this is open to anyone. Just why did you want to do that? Like, you didn't have to. You could have said no. Couldn't you? So why?
I chose to. We don't have to go in a certain order, do we?
No order. No
okay.
Order.
I chose to because someone spoke to change my life. And I chose to speak to help and change someone else's life, to give a better improvement to theirs. And that was a part of me removing my fears and allowing my voice to be used. God gave it to me for a reason, to understand that I have a purpose. I've survived 9 car wrecks for a reason. So, and I survived mental health. I've survived domestic violence, and I can keep on. God is always going to give me his mercy and grace. So as long as I got breath in my body, my voice is going to be heard loud and clear, that it's okay not to be okay. It's okay to do, to see a therapist. It's okay to have a session with someone. It's okay to reveal yourself, to be vulnerable, to show your weakness, because that's where you'll find your growth and improvement and the strongest version of you, to be yourself and to be blessed.
Yeah, I think I completely agree with you, Shay. I completely agree. Because I like, again, I'm glad that you're here, Shay, because it's really good. What about anyone else? Does anyone else want to say anything? Okay, Kimberly?
Yes, I would love to. I believe, I have chronic illness, and I'm 25 years old. I am a stroke survivor. So before the stroke, I didn't realize how much the mental health could impact someone with an autoimmune disease. So I like to spread more awareness to that, because an autoimmune disease is both physical, it's a mental, it's an emotional toll. And I believe that, that just because you seek help, it doesn't make you weak. It actually makes you stronger.
Yeah, I think so. Like, I completely agree, because it does make you stronger, doesn't it? Because you know that you're gonna have your bad days and good days, but it was a good day for you to come on. When you did, but yeah, you have your own podcast as well, so that keeps you going too.
Yes, it does. Self-love sister.
Yeah, so it's a good name. As we spoke about that, self-love is something that we all need to do, I think, time to time. What about anyone else? Does anyone else want to say anything about why you wanted to come on?
Yeah, I suppose I could certainly bounce off the back of all that's been said so far, really. It is good, when you have got a voice, it's important to share the things, the things. If you want to help others learn them, sharing information, sharing, your story, and wanting to inspire and to be able to help us is the way to go. That's something that I firmly believe anyway.
Yeah, I completely agree, Justine. It's something. I completely agree. Angela, why did you want to be co-host or host as well? Why? Because I asked you.
Well, Mason, I tell you, I am all about being involved in anything that makes mental health visible, anything that makes mental illness visible, anything that makes mental wellness visible. And I talk about mental health, not just because it's a part of a profession, but as Justine said, when you go through certain experiences and it actually impacts your life and actually changes your view on the way you see the world and the greater good of it all, you want to be involved in those things. And I'm concerned, I love people, I'm in the social helping field and I love to work with people. There's a saying that says people want to know how much you care, not necessarily how much you know. I introduce myself as what I do by profession, but people know Angela Jackson, for someone who supports, who cares. And I like to be present, especially to represent Black and Brown communities. There is still such a stigma within the culture where people are hesitant to reach out for counseling, to reach out for help in general. So I like to, this is partially why I call myself the face of the Jackson Impact. I want to represent something and show that, hey, I'm a Black person, I'm an African-American person who advocates for mental wellness. I advocate for counseling services. I advocate for being open and having those difficult conversations and breaking generational curses. And I just, we're buddies also. I have a chronic illness and I'm very open about my journey with Crohn's disease of 22 years. And that is a whole nother population where it impacts stigma, it impacts your mental health, it impacts, in terms of anxiety, depression, adjustment, even PTSD, and in some cases, suicidal ideation. So there's so much that goes into that. And as I mentioned, 22 years of having to learn new ways to adjust to life and show up and be present, So I like to, again, just be that face of someone who is an overcomer. So I'm glad that you invited me to host with you.
Yeah, it's been good. Like there's a lot of hard work's been put into it. Having a logo. The name was very good, wasn't it? Mental Health Awakening.
Absolutely.
So yeah, Angela has Crohn's like me, and worked with mental health, so I thought it was perfect. And then not to just have people on the series that have Crohn's and chronic illness as well. There's other people have been on here speaking about their personal mental health, and I think it's great just to have that part of the series and everything. So thank you, Angela, for being a part of it. And Myesha, are you with us?
Yes, I'm back, reconnected, thank God.
Do you want to just do a little introduction of yourself?
Sure. Thank you for having me, Mason. It's been a pleasure being a part of Mental Health Awakening, getting acquainted with everyone, meeting new friends. And that's on the same page as far as impacting the mental health community, providing education and awareness. My name is Myesha Thurman. I'm a mental health advocate, social worker, life coach, and overcomer. I've I've suffered for anxiety for many years, but I'm an overcomer because I impact and help others come up with positive strategies to cope with anxieties.
Yeah.
With me having experience and being an overcomer. And I'm here to uplift and inspire the community that specifically impacts mental health and individuals who are suffering from anxiety.
Yeah, I really like our chat, Myesha, because anxiety, I think for most of us here, we could probably agree that anxiety does really impact mental health and day-to-day lives too. Yeah, anxiety was a very good topic, I think.
Absolutely, I agree.
Thank you.
There were several, I want to say either several events or awarenesses that came up after the recording that were right on point. They were spot on as far as the information that Myesha provided. So it was confirmation that
Thank you.
there are still people out there. You're more than welcome. Glad you came back.
Me too.
But you know, there are a lot of people that still struggle to even discuss anxiety. You know, we all have fears or specific fears or phobias or things that we may need to process through. And again, that's another one of those topics that need to be normalized. And Myesha presented a lot of tools, strategies, and interventions on how to minimize the symptoms related to anxiety. It was a great discussion.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I think what the best part about what the series and everything, that each episode was different. Like maybe some things were brought up in different episodes, but everyone had their own story they wanted to tell. And I probably learned something new about each of us. Like all you guys here probably learned something new as well. But I want to talk about Awareness Month, not just Mental Health Awareness Month, any Awareness Month. What's your opinion? I've asked this before about different kind of awareness months, but do you feel there should be an awareness month, or do you feel there shouldn't be an awareness month? Listen, that's to anyone. Oh.
You know, I will say that the Jackson Impact as a brand, we promote mental health awareness all year long. You know, that's what my platform is. in addition to that, I do believe that there should be a mental health awareness month. Sometimes there are specific days. Every opportunity that's available to highlight a need is necessary. There are times to where sometimes people limit the awarenesses to 1 month, 1 day, 1 week, but it's necessary for it to be ongoing. So yes, I believe it's necessary for the month to be there. There are a lot of events where people, take the opportunity to highlight and to show up, right? I do believe we should encourage for it to continue throughout the year.
Okay.
I agree.
I agree with that as well.
Well, and personally, I feel like if we didn't, allow, if we didn't have advocates to share the information about mental health awareness, in my opinion, it would be a lot of individuals suffering, because with the community created to speak on mental health awareness, it allows people to come out and become more vulnerable to express what they're going through as far as mental health issues and their mental health concerns and needs, because they're not, we're advocating for individuals to view mental health awareness as if we was going in for a regular checkup at the doctor's office, for, like we go to the clinics every day for our annual checkups. And as we continue to raise awareness, I pray that mental health awareness become like a routine checkup where your people are open to go in and receive the services and the therapy that they need within this community. So I feel it's needed all year round. Not just for 1 month.
Yeah. Okay. I agree with that, Myesha. Kimberly.
I'm also with Myesha. I think that mental health is such a big part of our lives, and sometimes we just brush it under because of other social events or other stuff going on in our lives. And I think it's just like a reminder. So I'm glad we have a dedicated month, but just because May is almost coming to an end, it doesn't mean that your mental health has to come to an end as well. I think that it should be something that you practice every single day.
Yeah. Yeah, I completely agree there. Does anyone feel confused in a way? Why is it May out of every single month? Because it's May every year. And does any of you think, why is it May? Why is it not June, or why is it not July? Why does it have to be May? Angela.
Yeah, I was about to say, Angela.
I wish I had more background or history on why it is May, but I will say that there are mental health awarenesses throughout the year, but it's more population based or topic based. For example, there may be a teen mental health month or a teen mental health day. I know that July, for example, is Minority Mental Health Awareness Month, or now a lot of people call it BIPOC Awareness Month, where they specifically talk about the mental health of Black and Brown communities and the stigmas, or encouraging them, as Myesha mentioned, to utilize mental health services more like an annual checkup, more like the follow-ups and things like that. So also throughout the year, there are certain months that may be designated specifically for depression awareness or anxiety awareness, or, so it really is, there really is opportunity for mental health awareness throughout the year. It may just be identified as a specific, just a specific diagnosis or topic or specific issue. So that's great. I think that we maybe need to become more aware of those. I actually have a calendar that points those things out. Also, in April, I wish I could say exactly what it was, but they have Men's Health Month, Women's Health Month, and things like that. So a lot of times the mental and the psychological part gets lumped into that. So I believe that there are opportunities for that. I will have to do some research on why. I feel like May is kind of the general mental health awareness month, and then the ones that come throughout the year specifically target and break down different concerns. So
Yeah, May is kind of like the mental health awareness globally.
yeah.
Yeah.
I always thought it's an alliteration thing just because it went so well, Mental Health May. But then also you could equally have Mental Health March.
Yes.
Is the case.
Yeah. I suppose it goes with the letters, doesn't it?
That's what I always thought.
Yeah. Yeah.
And excuse me, I also feel that mental health awareness helps save lives, because with the education behind it, just say somebody might be contemplating suicide, and if they seek out and connect with the right, mental health provider per their choice, you most of the time gives them hope. And like Shay Speaks always encourage and uplift. And if a person hear one of those videos and they're going through mental health issues and not sure of why they're feeling like that because they haven't been diagnosed or don't know which way to turn, one of those encouraging videos can help steer that person in the right direction, or just having the information and literature about what mental health awareness stands for. It helps save lives, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Do you think it gets confusing though, with all these awareness days and all these awareness months for some people? Because do you feel maybe some people who are unaware of certain months and certain days that has to be that's set for May, mental health set for May? There's International Men's and Women's Days and stuff like that, isn't there? They're obviously, it gets complicated, doesn't it? Because you have all these different ones, probably ones we're unaware about as well.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
That gives us the opportunity to make a greater impact, because if we're aware, right? Or if there's something that you're passionate about and you're prepared to stand up and share or to highlight, then the people who have never heard of it before are like, oh, really? That gives them the chance to look things up, to follow and listen to what you have to say. I actually have still had a couple of people to say they have not heard of Mental Health Awareness Month, or they'll say things like, man, there's an awareness for every month. Who comes up with this? Like you mentioned, it can possibly be overwhelming. Sometimes people may miss out on it, but for those of us who are aware, stand up, show up, become visible, because that is what makes the greater impact.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I think also May is Crohn's Awareness Month, if I'm not wrong. I think it is, and then it's complicated, isn't it? Because you have all, for a certain topic, for example, mental health, you'll have all these. You won't just have May as an awareness month. You probably have some other time in the end, an awareness week, and then an awareness day. So
Right.
it's a very complicated, but it's just as good that you can do this, and you have the opportunity to probably speak about a topic you're really passionate about.
It can get confusing because until a few years ago, I didn't know there was such thing as Blindness Awareness Month. And I found that really strange, given the fact that we're told we can't say blindness, we're supposed to say visual impairment. And I found it a couple of years ago. So my automatic thing was, well, it's not exactly publicized. I've gone through by that time nearly 30 years of living with visual impairment, and no one ever told me there was such thing as that. I mean, how does that happen? It's a bit crazy, we never know about these things when they actually do happen. And when you hear about them, you're like, well, okay, why did I not know this before?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So Justine, how come that they can't use that term then, like blindness instead of how come that's the thing?
I think it's just a political correctness thing, because on the registered blind cards, they used to say registered blind. Now they have to say if it's sight impaired or severely sight impaired. Whereas back in my, to make myself sound really old to say this, but back in the day when I was younger, we used to get away with saying things like blind or partially sighted, whereas now apparently that's more politically incorrect. And that's confusing in itself, because they changed so many terms. You know, how are we supposed to keep up with knowing what exactly is what in this day and age?
That's it, everything changes, and it must be annoying, because like you're right.
It is.
You're right, because you would say it as blind, wouldn't you? I suppose that's why they say to someone you're visually impaired. That is a probably complicated term, isn't it, to someone who's unaware what that means. So yeah, it can be annoying, like all these terms always changing.
When they changed the terms, I was used to make a joke of it. So I used to say, does that mean I'm a VIP? Because they use the term VI for visually impaired so much. So I just used to joke about it so much. I used to go, well, I'm not just blind anymore. I'm a VIP. It used to make people laugh, just to, you know, hear that you can make life of that kind of situation. So,
Yeah.
you know, it has its perks.
Yeah. Yeah, you're a VIP. I thought like that, but it's a really good way of putting it. You might get into like places maybe quicker. Say I'm VIP. Let me in. Yeah.
It's like using cane. No one looks at it anymore. They just stare at you as in to say, well, why are you using that? Because, and it makes, you know, certain people who have been brought up, for want of a better word, more mainstream, as in not institutionalized as such, it makes some of us feel that to use a cane only allows people to bury you behind the label. But why would you do that when you're a unique person, regardless of what, you know, abilities you may or may not have? I just don't understand systems' way of needing to think like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I completely agree, because all these terms, they change and change, and then we have to learn these new things very quickly. So sometimes
they change terminology like they change the British money nowadays.
Yeah, that's always changing. There's always a new note or
exactly.
But yeah, it's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So with mental health, it is there's so much to talk about, isn't it, within mental health, because everyone, you can relate your personal journey into it, and your personal experiences, but it's not always about that. It sometimes it's not always about your personal journey, is it? It's more about just talking about it, because it is hard to talk about it. I suppose all of us here, we probably wouldn't have talked about it like massively, because it is hard. Mental health it's hard to understand at first, isn't it?
It can be. It can be. I will say that, excuse me, I will say that a lot of times there's a misconception or a whole misunderstanding around what mental health is. And everyone has mental health, just like everyone has physical health. The question is it stable? Is there illness involved? Is there, well, what level of that health is there? And that's why you may hear me say sometimes that it's not just mental health, it's your total health. Where do you rate yourself? If you had to rate yourself on a scale of 0 to 10, how healthy would you say that you are? We can, as I will say this, as a therapist, people are shocked when I say, I want to hear some of the positive things, because they feel like once they start making progress, once they start being able to cope on their own or use interventions on their own, they think, oh, well, therapy's over, And so the reality is that therapy can be looked at as a form of self-care. It's okay to show up and tell some of the positive things that are happening in your life. So people, when they hear mental health, they think of the challenge, the struggle, the setback, the hardships, things like that, which that's a part of it. But there's that, as several of us have said, there's that part of the overcoming, there's the part of the strength, there's the part of the self-encouragement that is also good to share. That's a reflection of more stable mental health, that shows the progression to where maybe you were, ill on the mental illness end, and now you have grown, you have now stabilized in some ways. So mental health, just the term itself, can be hard to understand. And I think sometimes people lump those all together when really mental, if somebody said, what are you doing to take care of your mental health? You might say, oh, I drink water every day, I eat healthy foods, I exercise, I take an adult time out. There's a lot of things that contribute to mental health. And as you said before, Mason, there's so much that can be discussed.
I think that's a really interesting way of looking at it, actually, because it seems to me to be one of those things that you cannot really define. And I've always felt that the term emotional health is more apt, because when you're growing up at school and people say things like you're mental, you start to feel like there's a very negative perception surrounding that. But when you look at your emotional health and you realize it's so much about your emotions that actually has so much to do with your headspace. I mean, that's how I've always perceived it.
I like that. I like the way you said that. And Justine, what you just said contributes directly to the whole stigma around mental health. There's a negative label that comes with the term mental alone. So you're right. I like that. And if people focused on emotions more, because there are a lot of people who don't know how to express their emotions. There's that part of emotional regulation that is needed, and we just don't focus on the emotional side enough.
Exactly. Yeah, thank you. I mean, it is true. I mean, when you look at it, for instance, a really young child, and I use this example a lot, they're not going to know how to regulate their emotions until they've actually learned what the emotion is and how to actually control that. We all, no matter what age we are, I do believe that we all experience, facets of that. And, if I've ever written anything, that has anything to do with mental health as it's, portrayed, I always actually put on social media emotional health matters, like 9 times out of 10, because I think it is we do have to all break the cycle, and it starts with each of us individually, even if it's not always a collective.
I like that.
Thank you.
Yeah, I completely agree with what you guys are saying, because like for someone who doesn't understand mental health, they'll probably think because it's got the word mental in it. Are you crazy? Are you mental? They'll probably think like that, won't they?
That's just it. Yeah.
But it's not like that. Like you say, you have emotional health. It all goes with your health as well. That's why the health is in there, I suppose, because it looks back on your personal health. And that could be so many different terms of that as well. But yeah, like is the more we talk about it today, the more people probably hopefully have a look what we got to say, and stuff can be done, because I think even quite young people too are speaking about their mental health as well, which is brilliant, because it's not just an age thing, is it? You're not when you turn. It's not just like if you turn 20, your mental health affects you then. It can affect you anytime, can't it?
Exactly. You have things like teen depression and that, don't you? And I also quite like the term emotional consciousness, because, it makes you so much more conscious and aware of your state of emotions. And I think, I can only speak for myself, but that does seem to be half of the issue, especially in this day and age.
Yeah.
Yes. I agree with that. There are a lot of terms that put the mental health and that psychological perspective into different categories. And that definitely is one of them. I wanted to say, Mason, you mentioned, oh goodness, you mentioned something before and it made me, I just lost my train of thought, but I'll let you go on because I lost my train of thought about something that was said as far as mental health and the labels and things like that, but it'll come back to me.
Was it the way people look at mental health if they don't know what it is?
Oh, I know what it was. We were talking about mental health not necessarily coming at a certain age, like 20 and old, things start happening. Well, it begins in childhood, early childhood development. We train children how to, we model certain behaviors, whoever the adult is, whoever the caregiver is, whoever that primary influence is, we model certain behaviors for children. So their emotional development starts early on, with trust and mistrust, attachment, the presence of someone who's a nurturer or neglect or things like that. So those things shape a child's mental health. So once they become verbal, or it's almost like a communication between a mother and a child. When that baby cries and mama comes and she shows up with the bottle, the baby takes a nap and all of a sudden the baby cries again. Yeah. That baby's expecting to be fed or something. But there are a lot of things like nonverbal communication. That's also another one of those categories that is discussed with regard to mental health. Also, the way that we communicate. So definitely not, mental wellness, I'll say, does not discriminate, whether it be culture, whether it be race, whether it be age. So, depending on what we say and do, we're teaching, we're modeling for children, It makes me think about the conversation that we had with Kieran Pierce about the multi-school where he's from, the multi-school council. And we were talking about teens' mental health and how that teen and middle school age, those are very crucial, impressionable ages for teens. So they're trying to adjust and learn themselves and learn to socialize and independent living and all these other things that, again, contribute to the way they think. And the way that you think is going to show up in your behavior. So no age limit.
Yeah, because we got Justine does work with Might School Council as well. Justine, don't you?
I do, yes.
Yeah, we spoke about in your episode, didn't we, a little bit?
Yeah, I believe we did. Yes, I think we did. Yeah.
Yeah, because like it's nice to have talk about the Might School Council because it's been going a while. Yeah, I think that's pretty cool. Angela, a question for you. Well, a question for anyone, really. Why do we call it mental health, do you think, out every single word? And why mental? Why mental in the word? Like, why is it called mental health, do you think?
Does anybody else want to answer?
Yes, anyone?
So why is it called mental health?
Yeah.
If I were to give my label to it or my determining of the definition, speaking from my experiences, the mental, everything begins in the mental. Everything starts in the mind, your thoughts. Everything is constructed there, the conscious, the subconscious, where everything is stored in the subconscious of those things, and the mental, where fears are created, where excitement is created. And with those blocks in place and not corrected on a healthy level, you can be doomed for destruction. Feel good, feel God, and your own health and good wellness of things. The body on regulation, the body will regulate properly. The body is set up to be in this point of fulfillment. When you pay attention to how you feel when you're angry or you're frustrated, your body is in this rejection and mode of fight or flight. But when you're happy, when you're joyful, you're in this carefree mode. You're just in this free flowing. It's not feeling forceful. But the mental, the health, and you combine that together, the mind in a healthy state of mind, then the body, everything else will be in a flow and connect. And I think that's kind of sums it up for me.
Okay. I want to say, Shay, you said that beautifully. I felt like I had been talking so much. I wanted to give someone else the opportunity, but she's exactly right. Mental means the mind, and as we said before, is people have given a negative label to the word mental. They use it as something derogatory, but that's why I said before, we all have mental health. We all have a mind. Shay hosted an event. It was an empowerment mixer. And one of the first things I said was, I don't see anybody in here who's headless, right? So that means we all have mental health. If I saw somebody who was headless, it would have been over, right? So basically, that's exactly it. Everyone has a mind. Everybody has a brain. Everybody has different thoughts that produce behaviors and, all of that. So she did it.
I don't want to go to Kimberly because we were talking before, and she talked about a really good thing, like taking breaks, Kimberly, and like you said, you could be doing this for the whole of Mental Health Awareness Month. So do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yes, I decided to take a month off, and what better way than to take May, Mental Health Awareness Month, off, because I feel like if I'm putting out like negative content, that's gonna release like negative mindset to people. So I think that if I do something that's good for me, therefore other people are gonna gravitate toward, and I feel like the better I am for other people, it's all like a cycle of positive vibes. And I never want to put out something that feels lazy or that I don't communicate emotionally. So that's why I always say, like, I think that in order for this world to be a better place, we have to take care of ourselves so we can give, positive vibes to anyone else.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. And does that include just posting? So is that the same with the podcast, or will you still be continuing with that for this month?
So for the podcast, I am going to be releasing like an all Spanish season 2 to, try to, because I feel like autoimmune disease is not talked about as much in like the Spanish community. And I'm also taking a break off of Instagram, TikTok, everything. So I'm doing work in the background. So I'm creating content and still recording podcast episodes, but I'm not posting about it.
Okay. So that is a good idea, because it's like you're free. You're free for doing anything.
Yes, it's great. It's a great way to recharge.
Yeah. I'm thinking about doing that as well. Well, not yet for the summer, because I haven't really had a break from doing the podcast. So I want to do that this summer, like similar to what you're doing, like recording episodes ahead of time and then you release them at a later date. But yeah, I think a break is very important for any of us, because like we all do hard work here, and if we don't break, we're like that links into mental health very well, because if we don't have a break, we overwork ourselves and we think we've got to put something out every single day. Like, what have we done? Like you don't even have to tell anyone, do you? That's a good thing about it. But yeah, with mental health, it is like, I think it's really interesting what Shay was saying about like the mind, because like it is, the mind is the key, is why we think, isn't it? But like what is the best part of what you guys do? Like, what's your favorite part about raising awareness or talking about mental health? Like, if you have a favorite part, is you might like it all. Like, and that's to anyone again. Kimberly?
My favorite part is seeing someone, I think the correct word I'm looking for is surpass.
Yeah.
You know, they look back and say, I did that. Oh my God, I didn't know I had that in me. Or I get a lot of feedback on how I break it down. I break it down on how my mind lays it out, or just sorts it out, and compare it to how someone probably uses terms and that's been in psychology and the terminology. But when you speaking from the realness, the rawness of the material, because you lived it, you just live it, you just speak it out in a flow, and to get the response of saying, you broke it down in a way for me to really just catch that and understand that. You make it sound so, just laid out that it resonates, with me. So that's one of the biggest things for me, is that part of it, breaking it down and allowing it to be similar to somebody that's in the same experience, and to let them be in the opportunity to surpass the next level of them dealing with the mental health. Yeah, that's me.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Shay, because it's good, like you said about breaking it down, because like there's like so much to talk about, isn't there? And just a topic after a topic. Yeah. So Kimberly,
So my favorite part of everything that I do is honestly everything. And what I mean by that is when I post, like, for example, I have a segment on TikTok and Instagram called Wisdom Wednesday. So that's just, creating some wisdom throughout the middle of the week. And it can talk about an autoimmune disease or mental health or anything like that. And I love getting the messages. So a lot of people are still kind of shy with their autoimmune disease, chronic illness, or not. I get it. Like, not a lot of people like to talk about it. So that to me, so I don't care if I get 0 comments, but if I get 100 direct messages, that's like the world to me. So just knowing that I am changing someone else's life really impacts my life, because then I feel like I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing.
yeah, I think it's great, because it's hard to pick one specific thing that you like doing, because you can talk about so many different things. Like as Angela and everyone here talked about different things. Some of you here probably meeting new people as well. So that's a good thing about what we do, isn't it? Like, you meet new people along the way. Yeah. What about you, Angela?
Oh, goodness. I would have to say just being able to help, not necessarily having any expectation in return, making connections, and then directing people to the resources or the information that they need. I just want to be a help.
Yeah.
I find that rewarding.
Rewarding. Okay. What about anyone else who hasn't spoken yet? Do you want to say anything about what you like to do?
The part I like about it is inspiring, helping, and uplifting others, and providing resources as well.
Okay. Yeah, that's pretty good, because speaking about anxiety again, it's a topic that doesn't get spoken enough, and it's not like it links in with everything in a way, doesn't it? Anxiety, because some of you on here probably a bit anxious. I bet you. I would have thought you would have been. You might not be. You might be a really confident person who's never anxious. But yes, anxiety does really link into mental health, and I like chronic illness and stuff too. So yeah, Justine, do you want to say anything?
Yes, sure. I'm going to say my favourite part of what I do is kind of a bit of a mixture of what's been said already, but being able to help and inspire people and give them that love and comfort, and just to let them know that that somebody let them know that somebody does care about them and unconditionally appreciates them for what they do through my own gifts and creativity. And it's I love being able to help people in that way, but also just as importantly, I love to learn from others.
Yeah, I think it's great. I think it's something that we all could say we have done. If it's not today, it would have been some other time.
Yeah.
But yeah, like you learn so much, don't you, when talking about something that you're passionate about talking, and they bring up other things like with Kimberly, like your chronic illness. Like when we met, we didn't suppose know about each other, so we learned something there, didn't we?
Yes, we did. And I am so grateful that I was on your podcast. I think it was in 2020. And I mean, look, we're in 2022 and we're still connecting. We're still making powerful collaborations. I mean, it's a blessing. You never know who you're going to meet in this, where we are.
Definitely. We're all over in the world. I think the only one in the UK with me is Justine. Yeah, like that's a good idea. I know we might have said it at the beginning, but do we all want to just say where we are from in the world? That'd be nice. What about start with you, Kimberly?
So I'm in Atlanta, Georgia, in the US.
In the US, Atlanta. So we got from Atlanta. Angela, I'm just going from people on my screen, so who I can see first.
I'm in Gallatin, Tennessee. I'm about 30 miles outside of the capital.
Yeah.
So I'm in Gallatin, Tennessee in the USA.
2 from the USA so far. So what about you, Shay?
I am in the USA. I am in my skin, but I am in the Cordova, Tennessee area. I'm from the Selma, Tennessee, but I recently moved, and I'm just a butterfly out here.
Yeah. So 3 from Tennessee. No, not. I was going to say 3 from Tennessee, but I'm wrong. 3 from America, in different parts. What about you, Myesha? Where are you from?
I'm from the USA, and I live in Detroit, Michigan, in the Midwest.
Okay, so 4, I think, if I'm right. What about you, Justine? Where are you from?
I'm from Basildon, Essex in the UK.
We've got 1. We lost the competition though.
Yay, USA!
Yeah. But here's a question for you now. Are you actually American? Like, not like where you're from. Are you actually directly born there, or were you born somewhere else and you're just there, like moved? Like, let's go from Kimberly downwards, or the order we did before.
Yes, I was born in California. My parents are from Mexico, but then I moved to Georgia when I was 8.
Yeah, I remember you said you were from Mexico. So there we go. We're all traveling around the world here.
Love it.
What about you, Justine? I suppose you was born in England.
Born and raised in Basildon. For part of my life, grew up in Kent when I went to residential school, but that's about it.
Okay. What about Angela?
From the USA.
Yep. So
born and raised.
all right. What I'm gonna do. So I would have thought Myesha and Shay are the same. I would have thought so. Correct me if I'm
No,
wrong.
not Myesha. Come on, come through, Myesha.
No, I'm from the USA. I was born in Los Angeles, California. I lived in Jackson, Tennessee, and I moved from Tennessee and I moved to the Midwest, and now I reside in Detroit, Michigan.
Okay.
So I've been around the world,
Yeah.
been around the US.
Look, let's back up then. Let me back up. I'm just excited, y'all. I'm excited. So I have moved around a little bit. I'm not originally from the place that I live in, but nowhere outside of the country. I think I probably lived, Myesha mentioned Jackson, Tennessee. We met in Jackson, Tennessee. Oh goodness, I've lived in Ashland City, Tennessee. I've lived in Jackson, Tennessee. I've lived in Evansville, Indiana. I've lived in Bridgeport, Connecticut. I've lived in Nashville, Tennessee. And now I am in Gallatin.
So Jackson, Tennessee. So that's why you're called the Jackson Impact then, is it?
my name is Jackson. My husband says I love Jackson, Tennessee so
That's
much I had to
cute.
marry a Jackson.
Yeah.
He said, you, because I always said, I never thought I would leave Jackson. I love Jackson. And he said, so you had to marry a Jackson.
Yeah. Yeah. It looks like you'll say this to me, you guys, like where you from, where you've been. I don't have a clue what you're talking about, but but it's very interesting, I think, in America, USA, because like I find that probably most of you are in different time zones. Some of you might be in the same time zones, but it's different from the UK, because from America, like you could be going to another state where we don't call them states in the UK, we just call city and towns, where it could be like a whole different time or place, almost like you're moving country a little bit, because some are a little far away. But I find that's really interesting. Yeah. So it's good that we know where we're all from. Quite into the episode. But what I want to do before we all finish, because it's been great having you all back and everything. And what I want to do, you're probably used to this by now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of go from each of you and just say maybe a little final words or advice if you want. You've probably given a lot of advice already. That's what you do. But yeah, just say a little maybe a few words and everything. Let's go with let's start with Kimberly and let's go down. Okay.
Well, as always, thank you so much for having me and talking about mental health. That is something so huge to me. If you want to follow me along, go on Instagram and TikTok at strong_self-love and follow me on my podcast, Self-Love Sister.
Yeah. We'll find Kimberly there, a Self-Love Sister or self-love, where she does awesome stuff. It's good to have Kimberly back because as we said, we spoke from 2020. I think so yeah, it's been great to have you back, Kimberly, and it's been really nice. And speaking on from Kimberly, if you want, you can tell people where they find you and stuff, even though most of you probably did that in your episodes, but you can do it again. It's fine. Justine.
I am more or less going to say the same sort of thing. Firstly, thank you so much to both of you, Mason and Angela, for having me on this podcast. And feel free, any of you, to look me up. I'm on YouTube, Justine LH Projects. I'm also on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You could either use my handle, which is at Justine Lee 89, or you can search me up as Justine Lee Harrington. And Lee is Leigh. And please, I say this all the time, but please, I have an E at the end of my name, because the amount of people who have inboxed me or written me a birthday card that says Justin.
No.
Please remember, I have an E on the end of my name if you're searching for me. Thank you very much.
Well, I've never known a Justine to have not an E on their name.
It's just some people keep thinking my name is Justin, and then they spell my middle name Lee, when it's definitely not.
It's fine. It's fine. Like, people get mixed up with my surname, and stuff. Like, but yeah, it's annoying, but we have to repeat ourselves, don't we?
It's funny when people can see your name right in front of them. So for me, they can see I'm Justine, but I'll get a message going, "Hi, Justin." Okay, interesting.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like, Angela, I mean, will know from the spelling of Crohn's. People get that wrong all the time.
All the time.
But so, as we're with you, Angela, what do you have to say? Do you have anything to say? Final words.
I am just glad to have been a part of this series. I appreciate all of the guests that we connected with. Some of the people I already knew, some new connections. I really appreciate all that you all had to offer and all that you all have to offer moving forward. Forward is forward. It doesn't matter how fast, how slow, as long as you are in motion, keep it moving, keep making an impact, and keep showing up, keep being you. I have been saying that I'm unapologetically impactful, and that means that I'm going to be who I am, do what I'm supposed to do, and appreciate that space. So I encourage you all of the guests, all of the viewers, all the listeners to do the same. Go forward in what you're supposed to do unapologetically, whether that's highlighting mental health or whether that is taking care of your mental health, taking care of yourself, taking care of your mind. I'm just excited. Mason and I mentioned before that we connected through different Crohn's groups and different platforms. I was on his podcast once before, so it has been an honor to partner with you as a host. And I tell you, I think I probably can get to Georgia quicker than I can get to the UK. So maybe I can, we can make a good connection with Kimberly, and then we'll have to get you and Justine back on back on some kind of a FaceTime. But I appreciate all of the new connections that I've made, and I'm excited to see what you all will do in the future and how we'll continue to connect.
Yeah, I agree. And it's good that you're not far from people there. Me and Justine is another story. Like, well, we're not far, are we, Justine?
Not really at all. Actually, on that subject, I forgot to say as well, it's been so great to chat to all of you, and also to hear from your stories, but also, other than that, if any of you do look at my YouTube channel, you find my first single that came out in October, Storm Cloud single edit. So if you do give that a listen, I hope you enjoy, and please feel free to share.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, because for everyone who doesn't know, Justine really likes to sing. And she does she done some really good songs, better than me. I can't sing.
Still waiting to get you involved, Mason. Still waiting.
Yeah. I think there was a Mighty School Council choir, wasn't there?
There was an album, yeah.
Oh yeah. An album once, and I was in the audience watching. I couldn't do it. But although I like to sing, put music in my ears and have a nice sing along.
I'll get you in there one day, Mason. I'm pretty sure of that.
Yeah, if you edit it like it's like really good, like they do, in the album things, like you edit it like my voice is really good. Maybe. Yeah. I'm also open to singing. I like theme tunes. I do like theme tunes. Like music's very important about mental health, isn't it? Because
Definitely.
Because like when I'm writing up an episode, for example, I cannot write it up if I don't have some sort of music in my ears or listen to anything. I lose I think about someone else to do and I forget to do it. But yeah, music is very important, and we all have music in our lives.
The right music sets the right mood.
Definitely. Myesha, do you have any final words?
Yes, I just encourage the viewers to be yourself on purpose. And my handle, I can be reached if you want to contact me personally at Sunshine1922. That's my Instagram handle. And then my email address is myeshathurman@gmail.com. And I had a pleasure of connecting with everyone that's on this meeting today. And I want to thank Mason and Angela for this opportunity to, be able to share and educate others about anxiety on the recent podcast that I was on. Yeah. And I'm looking forward to moving forward with the connections that I have made within this group. Yeah. Nice meeting everyone, and I'm hoping to stay connected.
Definitely.
We're glad that you have been available.
You.
Appreciate you, and glad to have your support.
Definitely. And because we've lost Shay for a minute, do you want to say a few things on her behalf?
Oh my goodness, I couldn't possibly fill her shoes, but I'm so glad that Shay Knight was able to partner with us as well and show up. She's an awesome motivational speaker. You can hear that she speaks from personal experience, as she said before. And that really it's motivating to her viewers, it's motivating to her followers. She has quite the resume. She owns several businesses. Oh my goodness. She is an agent for State Farm. She is known as Lady Legs Entertainment. In case you've ever been to one of the car shows, she promotes car shows and she hosts car shows in her area and sometimes different areas to raise funds and raise awareness for cancer. So she definitely advocates for other people in so many different ways, illnesses, mental health. And as I mentioned before, she recently hosted an empowerment mixer, which her plans are to go from city to city hosting these events and promoting different topics, whether it be about trauma, mental health, mental wellness, cancer, as I mentioned before, and maybe some other topics that come up that have been requested. So you can find her at Shay Knight Speaks. Shay Knight Speaks. You could probably even click on the hashtag Shay Knight Speaks. She is now near and dear to me because her first name is Adria, which is my daughter's name. And when I met her, I met Shay at a women's prayer breakfast. I was on program and she was there and connected with me. And that's how we connected. So as Myesha often says, making connections with different people, with like-minded people is very important. And it creates a great support system. So we are glad to have connected with Shay Knight Speaks, you ask her and she will tell you that it's not just her vision, but she can say it best, but you will see her speaking in front of millions.
Yeah.
And so I wish there were more I could say about her, give her accolades, but we appreciate Shay Knight for being involved, along with many others that were not able to be with us today.
Yeah, like I said about Shay, I could listen to her all day, and I think many of us here probably could too. Like well, for everyone here, like I could listen to you all day, I think. Yeah, but I think it's been good to have everyone back today, because I'm sure we'll have you all on again. It'd be nice to have you all back again, because on the podcast I do like having everyone back. But this isn't the last episode. There'll be one more episode of the series where me and Angela will just have a little run through of it and see what we think, because who knows, it might be another thing for next year too, Mental Health Awakening. But yeah, I'm glad that you've all enjoyed it, and good work to Shay and as well, and like Angela says, everyone that wasn't able to be here today, because there were lots of people in the series today. Well, not today, through the month.
Throughout the series.
Yeah, throughout the series, throughout May, throughout the series. But yeah, it's been great. I'm glad everyone here is here. But for those aren't here, thank you too as well. And make sure everyone that you listen to everyone's episodes, because they're great. And yeah, they're just really good. And everyone has their own customized flyers too, so they'll be good to flash around. But thank you guys. It's been a lovely time speaking to you again, and have a nice rest of your day. If you're listening to this in the morning, night, or evening, I know it's all different time zones, so complicated. But thank you guys.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Yeah.